The moment you stop chasing, the world begins to chase you. Power, respect, attention, they all orbit around stillness, because nothing is more magnetic than a man who doesn't need to be seen. When you chase, you tell the world you're incomplete. When you beg, you announce to everyone that your worth depends on their reaction. But when you walk away, calm, controlled, detached, you become a storm they can't predict. And fear always follows unpredictability. People crave what withdraws from them. It's human psychology. Scarcity breeds value. The moment you stop trying to prove your worth, your silence starts speaking louder than any argument ever could. The weak explain themselves. The strong don't have to. Their absence becomes their statement. Their restraint becomes their weapon. You don't need to roar to be powerful. A lion's silence terrifies more than a dog's barking. Become that. Move with intent, not desperation. Speak with precision, not emotion. Let every pause, every stare, every silence command gravity. From today on, you chase nothing. You beg for nothing. You explain nothing. You stand in quiet certainty and let the world adjust to your frequency. Comment below, "My silence speaks louder than need." Write it like a vow, because after this moment, you'll never chase again. Number 1. The psychology of power in stillness. Real power doesn't shout, it doesn't rush, it waits. The louder someone talks, the more desperate they are to be seen. They're not powerful, they're performing, but the one who stays calm, who listens, who speaks only when he must, that's the man people start to fear, respect, and follow. Stillness is not weakness, it's control. When you don't react right away, you keep control of the game. People who always respond with emotion give away their power. They get triggered, angry, nervous, and that's when they lose. But when you stay calm, silent, unbothered, everyone else loses their balance. Silence confuses people. It makes them uncomfortable. They start wondering what you're thinking, what you're planning. That's the secret. When you're silent, their mind works for you. They start creating stories, assumptions, fears, and that's when you own the room, not by talking, but by being unreadable. Even centuries ago, Machiavelli understood this. Power isn't just about strength, it's about perception. When people can't figure you out, they give you more credit than you deserve. They start respecting you, even fearing you, because mystery creates authority. So stop explaining yourself, stop reacting to every comment or insult. When someone disrespects you, don't argue. Pause. Let the silence hang. Let it become heavy. That's how you show that their words don't touch you. That's how you train emotional discipline. Stillness is strength. Silence is strategy. Every time you stay calm instead of exploding, you win. You keep your energy. You protect your power. Let the world talk while you move in silence. Let them wonder what's next. Let your calm presence become your reputation. Comment below, "My calm is my control." Write it proudly, because when you master silence, you master the battlefield. Number 2, detachment, the art of emotional warfare. The strongest men are not the ones who fight the hardest. They're the ones who walk away first, because the moment you become emotionally attached to a person, an argument, an outcome, you hand them the keys to your peace. You start playing their game. They lead, you follow. They push, you react. And just like that, your control is gone. Detachment isn't about not caring. It's about caring correctly. You don't let your emotions drive you. You let logic lead. You don't chase what's running. You let what's meant for you come on its own. That's power. That's freedom. Most people can't do this. They're slaves to reaction. A single text, a small insult, a rejection, and they lose all control. They start explaining, begging, proving. But the man who has mastered detachment, he does none of that. He simply disappears into silence. He lets absence do what words never can. You see, emotional control is the purest form of dominance. When someone knows they can't get to you, they lose interest in trying. You take away their weapon, your reaction. That's the core of emotional warfare. You turn indifference into armor. Detachment doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear. You stop wasting energy on things that drain you. You stop arguing to be understood. You stop trying to change people who enjoy chaos. Instead, you move like water, calm, quiet, unstoppable. When you stop reacting, you shift the power dynamic instantly. People start noticing your silence. They wonder why you're not chasing, why you're not explaining, why you're not desperate to fix things. That's when curiosity turns into respect, and respect turns into control. Never explain your value, never chase approval. The world is full of noise, desperate voices fighting to be noticed. You become the opposite. You become the void, the stillness that everyone feels but no one can read. That's how you dominate, not through attention, but through absence. Detachment also means learning to lose without losing yourself. You will face rejection. You will face disrespect. People will betray you, lie to you, underestimate you. It's all part of the game. But if you stay calm through it, if you let nothing shake your center, then no one ever truly defeats you. Because the only real defeat is emotional surrender. Understand this deeply. When you need nothing, you control everything. The man who doesn't need validation cannot be manipulated. The man who doesn't fear losing someone cannot be controlled. The man who doesn't crave attention cannot be used. Detachment gives you that kind of peace, the kind that breaks chains. Machiavelli would call it the art of appearing indifferent while knowing exactly what you want. You don't show your hunger. You hide it behind calm eyes and a measured tone. You make people guess what moves you, what triggers you, what drives you. The less they know, the more power you hold. Every relationship, every deal, every battle has one rule. The more emotional person loses, always, because emotion clouds strategy. Emotion reveals weakness. Emotion makes you predictable. So you train yourself daily to stay silent when you want to speak, to walk away when you want to prove, to breathe when you want to explode. That's how warriors of the mind are built, not in chaos, but in calm. Detachment is not loneliness, it's discipline. You still feel everything, you just don't let those feelings make your decisions. You learn to stand in the middle of the storm without letting the wind move you. That's real power. Most people think strength means fighting back. Real strength means not needing to fight. When you're detached, nothing controls you. Not love, not anger, not fear. You move when it's time, not when your emotions demand it. You choose your battles with precision, not impulse. This kind of control is rare. It's what separates ordinary men from the ones who rule quietly. The detached man is unshakable because he knows who he is. He doesn't explain. He doesn't seek permission. He doesn't compete for attention. He simply exists in full command of himself, and that's enough to shift entire rooms. Every time you want to react, pause. Every time you want to prove, breathe. Every time you want to beg, walk away. That's not weakness. That's dominance disguised as peace. So the next time someone tries to trigger you, smile slightly. Let your silence answer. Let them drown in their need for a reaction you'll never give. That's how you win without fighting, by mastering the inner war first. Comment below, I control my emotions, they don't control me. Say it, believe it, live it. Because once you master detachment, no one on this earth can touch your mind or your power. 3, the power of absence. Why they fear losing you more than they admit. There's a strange thing about human nature. We don't value what's always there. We take it for granted. We assume it'll stay. But the second it's gone, we panic. We start replaying every moment, every word, every mistake, trying to figure out how we lost what we thought we owned. That's the hidden power of absence. It's not weakness, it's not avoidance, it's strategy. When you step back, when you go silent, when you stop explaining, the balance shifts instantly. The other person starts feeling something they never did before, your value. Because truth is, people can't feel your worth when you're always available. They only feel it when your energy disappears. That's when they realize how much space you actually filled. In Machiavellian terms, absence creates scarcity, and scarcity creates desire. Humans crave what they can't easily have. That's not arrogance, it's biology. When you're too present, you become ordinary. When you disappear, you become legend. Silence makes people imagine. They start wondering where you went, what you're doing, who you've become. They invent stories in their heads, and every story they tell makes you bigger in their mind. That's how influence works, not by forcing, but by withdrawing. Remember this rule. Attention chases mystery, and mystery begins where noise ends. When you stop chasing, stop proving, stop explaining, you create space. That space becomes your leverage. It's the invisible tension that pulls people back toward you. Your absence forces them to confront something uncomfortable, that you never needed them as much as they needed your presence. And that realization hits deep. Every great leader, every powerful person in history understood this. They knew when to appear and when to vanish. They spoke rarely, but when they did, the world listened because absence made their presence valuable. That's the secret of real power, not being everywhere, but being missed everywhere. When you step away, you teach people something they'll never forget. You were never dependent on their attention. Your silence carries its own gravity. It's psychological warfare at its purest. Absence forces reflection. It stirs insecurity. It activates longing. The mind hates emptiness. So when you walk away, they fill that emptiness with your image, your energy, your memory. You become unforgettable simply by being gone. But here's where most people fail. They go silent for attention. That's not power. That's manipulation. And manipulation always cracks eventually. Your absence should come from discipline, not ego. You walk away because you choose peace over drama, focus over noise, power over begging. You don't disappear to make them miss you. You disappear because you've remembered your worth. That difference is everything. When you master this, you start to attract without chasing. You make people respect your distance. They start thinking twice before they waste your time, because they've learned, once you're gone, you don't come back the same. The new version of you is colder, wiser, sharper. You don't explain your silence anymore. You let people wonder. You let them question themselves. You let your absence teach the lesson your words never could. That's when your energy shifts from chaser to chooser. You're no longer trying to be understood. You're observing who deserves to be near you. That's a completely different frequency. Machiavelli would call this the power of controlled withdrawal. Appear less often, speak less often, give less of your attention, not out of pride, but out of strategy. Because when something becomes rare, it becomes sacred. You don't have to be cold, just unavailable. You don't have to be rude, just silent. You don't have to block people, just stop feeding them your focus. Energy is currency, and silence is the highest form of investment. When you step back, your mind clears. You start seeing who respects your distance and who panics because they lost control over you. Watch their reactions. That's the truth you were blind to before. Those who try to guilt trip you for walking away are the same ones who took your presence for granted. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let your absence finish the conversation. Absence doesn't mean losing connection. It means building leverage. It teaches others that access to you is earned, not assumed. And that lesson makes your presence more powerful than ever. So the next time someone disrespects you or undervalues your energy, vanish. No explanations, no emotional exit, just stillness. Because silence says everything pride wants to shout. The person who can walk away calmly is the person who wins. Always. Because walking away is not a reaction, it's a declaration. I choose me. You'll notice something strange when you do this. Peace starts replacing the chaos you used to call connection. You'll stop overthinking, stop explaining, stop hoping for closure. You'll realize that silence is closure, and your absence is power. So don't chase them, don't text again, don't beg to be understood. Disappear with dignity, because when you stop trying to be remembered, that's when they can never forget you. Absence is a mirror. It reflects what people truly felt all along. Those who valued you will reach out. Those who didn't will stay quiet. Either way, you win because you've reclaimed your peace. And that's the lesson most never learn. Your silence is not emptiness. It's evolution. It's the sound of a man returning to himself. Comment below. My absence has power. Say it like a command, because the day you learn to walk away without fear is the day no one can control you again. Number 4. How to command respect without speaking. Respect is not given to the loud, it's given to the certain. You can talk for hours, brag about achievements, demand attention, and still get ignored. Or you can walk into a room, say nothing, and have every eye turned toward you. That's not luck, that's control, that's presence. Commanding respect without speaking begins with one thing: energy. People feel it before they see it. They sense whether you need something or whether you already have everything within. Neediness leaks, confidence radiates. You can't fake it, because real presence is born from discipline, from years of knowing who you are and refusing to explain it to anyone. When you truly know your worth, your silence becomes louder than anyone's words. You stop rushing to defend yourself. You stop trying to convince people to understand you. You stop performing to be liked. You exist fully and calmly, and that alone shifts the atmosphere. Look around you. Most people speak too much because they're afraid of being unseen. But power thrives in minimalism. The less you say, the more weight your words carry when you finally decide to speak. The mind values scarcity. When your voice becomes rare, people listen. Here's the first rule: never explain your confidence. The second rule: never overreact. The world will test you, push you, provoke you, just to see if you'll break character. Don't. The moment you react, you lose the frame. The moment you defend, you give away authority. You command respect not by fighting for it, but by embodying it. Your posture speaks. Your stillness speaks. Your eyes speak. When someone disrespects you, don't rush to answer. Pause. Look at them. Let silence become the response. That pause is a mirror. It reflects their weakness, not yours. Because silence in the face of disrespect is the loudest form of confidence there is. When you stay composed, you send a message without saying a word. I'm not affected. I'm not equal to this chaos. People sense that energy. They start second-guessing themselves. They feel smaller, not because you attacked them, but because your stillness exposed their insecurity. Understand this. People respect emotional control more than physical strength. Anyone can shout. Anyone can fight. But very few can stay calm when insulted, rejected, or challenged. That calmness is what separates a king from the crowd. It's the difference between being reactive and being untouchable. Machiavelli once said that a ruler must know how to appear both gentle and fierce, calm on the surface, but dangerous underneath. That's exactly how you must carry yourself. When you walk into a space, your silence should say, I could destroy you, but I choose peace. That duality commands respect, quiet power that doesn't need to prove itself. Never underestimate how much people read into your energy. When you move slowly, they assume confidence. When you speak softly, they listen harder. When you delay your response, they hang on your silence. That's how you shape perception, not with force, but with subtle control. So how do you build that kind of presence? It starts with self-respect. You respect your time, your peace, your boundaries. You don't chase those who ignore you. You don't argue with those who misunderstand you. You don't lower your standards just to be liked. The man who respects himself teaches others exactly how to treat him without ever saying a word. Every time you walk away from chaos, you're teaching. Every time you stay silent instead of arguing, you're teaching. Every time you choose calm over reaction, you're teaching. Respect isn't demanded. It's taught through behavior. There's something magnetic about someone who doesn't need to explain himself. People wonder what he's thinking. They project strength onto him because they can't read him. That mystery is power. You don't have to manipulate anyone. Just be unpredictable. Predictability is comfort. Mystery is control. But remember this. Commanding respect isn't about making others fear you. It's about earning their awareness. You become the person they notice, the one they measure themselves against, the one they don't want to disappoint. Not because you're loud, but because your silence feels like judgment. The most dangerous man in any room isn't the one who wants attention. It's the one who could take it any time, but doesn't care to. That's the man people whisper about. That's the man who doesn't chase. He chooses. And here's the paradox. When you stop demanding respect, you start receiving it naturally. When you stop trying to be understood, you start being admired. When you stop proving your worth, the world begins to treat you like you already have it. You don't get respect from others until you stop needing it. It starts internally, with discipline, patience, and peace. You wake up each day and remind yourself, I don't need to prove. I need to perform. I need to exist as proof. Every time you speak less, move slower, breathe deeper, your energy thickens, you become grounded, rooted, and people can feel that. It's not arrogance, it's mastery. So, the next time you walk into a room, remember, respect doesn't come from the noise you make, it comes from the silence you command. Keep your voice calm, your words measured, your energy deliberate. Speak when it matters. Walk away when it doesn't. Never let anyone see you rush, react, or explain. That's how you become untouchable. That's how you become respected. Not for what you say, but for what your silence makes them feel. Comment below. My presence speaks louder than words. Because once you master that, you'll never need to ask for respect again. Number 5. Emotional alchemy. Turning pain into power. Pain is inevitable. Weakness is optional. Every man who's ever risen above the crowd has first been broken by life, by loss, betrayal, failure, or humiliation. But what separates the powerful from the defeated is simple. The powerful use pain. The weak worship it. You can let pain turn you bitter, or you can let it turn you into something untouchable. That's emotional alchemy, the art of transforming emotion into strategy, turning heartbreak into focus, turning rejection into redirection, turning chaos into calm. Machiavelli understood this well. He believed that suffering was not the end of power, it was the beginning of it. A man who has never suffered cannot rule himself because he doesn't yet know his limits. Pain strips you of illusion. It kills the weak parts of you, the ones that beg, chase, explain. It leaves behind only truth. And truth, no matter how cold, is freedom. The first step of emotional alchemy is observation. When you're hurt, don't react. Don't run to explain. Don't try to prove you're okay. Watch the pain. Feel it, but don't feed it. Because every emotion, if left unreacted to, begins to lose its power. Anger, sadness, fear, they only grow when you entertain them. When you sit with them silently, they burn out and reveal something else underneath. Clarity. The second step is conversion. Take that pain and ask, what is this trying to teach me? Rejection teaches self-respect. Betrayal teaches independence. Failure teaches adaptation. The world isn't against you, it's training you. Every wound is a lesson written in blood, and if you read it correctly, it will never cut you again. Emotional alchemy is not about pretending to be fine. It's about refusing to be destroyed. The world respects men who can turn pain into productivity. While others complain, you evolve. While they seek pity, you build something that makes them wish they hadn't doubted you. But here's the truth most people will never face. The world will not comfort you. It doesn't care about your pain. That's not cruelty. It's reality. You can either cry for understanding, or you can turn that silence into strength. The choice defines everything. Your pain is raw energy. It can destroy you or forge you. The same fire that burns can also harden steel if you stand inside it long enough. When life cuts deep, don't rush to escape the discomfort. Stay there. Learn its shape. Watch how it moves through you. That's how you turn emotion into information. You start to see patterns. Who betrays you, what triggers you, where you lose control. Awareness turns suffering into science. You stop being a victim and start becoming an analyst of your own mind. Every time someone hurts you, you have two options: react emotionally or respond strategically. If you react, they own your peace. If you respond with calm, they feed your power. Pain is the ultimate test of control. Anyone can look strong when life is easy, but strength is meaningless until it's tested. When you can remain centered in chaos, when your silence holds firm in the middle of betrayal, you cross into a new kind of dominance. You become emotionally invincible. And here's the dark truth. People respect pain that doesn't complain. The silent man who turns his wounds into wisdom becomes intimidating. His calm makes others nervous. His restraint becomes myth. People sense that he's been through fire and survived. That's what creates gravity around you. You can't fake that. You have to earn it. Through nights alone, through loss, through quiet rebuilding, through walking away from what broke you and returning sharper, not colder. When you master emotional alchemy, you stop fearing pain altogether. You start to see pain as feedback, proof that something inside you needs to evolve. You stop taking betrayal personally. You start seeing it as redirection, a door closing so you can finally walk through the one that matters. Machiavelli would tell you this: the wise never waste emotion. Every feeling is fuel. The pain of today becomes the strategy of tomorrow. So, when they ghost you, when they doubt you, when life humiliates you, don't explain. Don't beg for closure. Don't announce your comeback. Just vanish. Go silent. Let the pain build pressure. Turn that pressure into purpose. When you return, your silence will speak for you. People will feel the difference. They'll sense it in your posture, your eyes, your calm. You won't need to prove anything. Your energy will say it all. You should have never doubted me. But here's the warning. Never let pain make you cruel. That's the mistake the weak make. They let hurt turn them into the very thing that hurt them. You must stay sharp but human, calm but not cold. Power without empathy is emptiness. Emotional alchemy means staying dangerous but disciplined. You feel everything, but you choose what gets your reaction. So, don't hide from pain. Use it. Study it. Every heartbreak, every failure, every disappointment, it's a tool. Sharpen yourself with it. Let it make you rare. Let it make you calm. Let it make you unstoppable. You'll reach a point where pain no longer scares you. It excites you because you know what's coming next. Evolution. Every time you're hurt, you get better, wiser, quieter. That's how men of power are built. Not in comfort, but in silence after the storm. And when they finally see you again, unbothered, successful, unrecognizable, they'll realize your silence was never weakness. It was transformation. Comment below, I turn pain into power. Say it like you mean it, because the day you stop avoiding pain is the day you start becoming unstoppable. Number 6, strategic indifference, the art of not caring. The moment you stop needing approval, you become impossible to manipulate. That is the essence of strategic indifference, appearing detached while seeing everything, feeling everything, yet allowing nothing to control you. It isn't about shutting off emotion, it's about owning it so completely that no one else can use it against you. Most people live like open books, every page of their mood on display. They react to every text, every opinion, every provocation. They think passion makes them powerful, but unchecked emotion is the leash that keeps them tied to the world's chaos. Real strength comes from emotional discipline, disguised as calm indifference. You learn to pause where others panic. You learn to listen without letting words pierce you. You stop chasing validation because you finally understand that reaction is energy, and energy is power. Every outburst, every attempt to prove yourself, every explanation you offer drains that power. Indifference is how you conserve it. It's how you walk through conflict untouched, your silence acting as a mirror that exposes the desperation of others. When people can't provoke you, they start fearing you, and when they fear losing emotional control around you, they begin to respect you. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must never allow himself to appear ruled by passion. The one who looks unshaken holds the frame. When you master indifference, you control perception. People assume you know something they don't. They project strength onto your stillness. They start to measure their emotions against your calm, and in that comparison, you quietly become the dominant force in every interaction. Indifference is not apathy, it's clarity. You're not ignoring life, you're filtering it. You've learned that not every argument deserves your voice, not every insult deserves your explanation, not every opportunity deserves your time. You care, but only where your care builds value. That's the difference between ordinary people and those who rule their space. The ordinary man reacts because he wants to be understood. The disciplined man stays silent because he already understands. When someone disrespects you, you don't fight for acknowledgement. You let your composure humiliate their chaos. You hold eye contact. You breathe. You let silence grow heavy until it does the talking for you. That stillness communicates more than any speech. It says, "I am not moved." And nothing unsettles the world more than a person who cannot be moved. Indifference creates scarcity. The fewer emotions you offer, the more valuable they become. When you finally speak, every word lands like a command. When you finally act, people pay attention. Your energy becomes premium. They can no longer predict you, so they must respect you. Some will accuse you of being distant. They'll say you've changed, and you have. You've stopped giving away energy to those who only take. You've stopped performing for people who were never listening. Indifference is the art of conservation. It's how you turn attention inward, rebuild your focus, and emerge sharper. In relationships, strategic indifference shifts the entire power dynamic. When you stop chasing, they begin to pursue. When you stop explaining, they begin to question. When you stop reacting, they begin to reflect. Absence and silence teach what words never can. You don't withhold affection to punish, you withhold it to protect your peace. That distinction is everything. This mindset also applies to ambition. Detachment doesn't mean lack of drive, it means freedom from desperation. You still work, still strive, still dominate, but you're not enslaved by outcome. You understand that control over emotion creates consistency, and consistency builds empires. While others burn out chasing validation, you stay centered, quietly accumulating momentum. Every day, practice restraint like a ritual. When something triggers you, pause. When ego demands a response, wait. Let silence stretch long enough to feel your power return. The one who reacts first loses control. The one who waits chooses the direction. That's strategic indifference. The ability to move only when movement benefits you. Eventually, you'll notice how peace begins to intimidate people. They can't figure out how to shake you, and their confusion becomes your advantage. You start to see life like a chessboard, every emotional trap visible before it's set. You stop playing small games because you're too busy building the board itself. Remember, pretending not to care is weakness. Genuinely not being controlled by care is mastery. The first cracks under pressure, the second thrives in it. Real indifference isn't faked, it's earned through experience, solitude, and discipline. It's the product of countless moments where you wanted to react but didn't, where you wanted to speak but stayed silent, where you wanted to prove but simply walked away. Each restraint forged another layer of armor until calm became your default. People start calling it mystery, but it's really just peace. They sense something untouchable in you, something they can't manipulate. That's when they start treating you differently, choosing words carefully, matching your tone, respecting your time. You've reprogrammed how they interact with you without saying a single thing. Strategic indifference turns every emotional test into an opportunity for dominance. When someone tries to insult you, you see data. When they ignore you, you see freedom. When they betray you, you see proof. You take none of it personally because you've learned the truth. Everything people do is a reflection of them, not you. Understanding that frees you from their control forever. Indifference is not about being heartless. It's about having a heart that obeys you. You feel deeply but selectively. You connect, but you never cling. You love, but you never beg. Because the moment your emotions start obeying others, your life stops belonging to you. Now you belong to yourself. You no longer chase closure, you create it. You no longer chase peace, you become it, and the world can sense it. They'll wonder why nothing seems to touch you anymore, why insults slide off you, why silence follows your presence. That's because you've mastered the art of conserving power. You've become unshakable, not by force, but by awareness. So when you walk into a room, move slowly. When you speak, speak less. When you're provoked, don't rush. Let the weight of your stillness shift the atmosphere. That's not arrogance, it's self-command. And the paradox? The less you try to control others, the more control you gain. Because influence isn't about domination, it's about stability. People trust what's steady. They follow what doesn't flinch. You've become that steady force, the calm in every storm. From this day forward, remind yourself, I owe the world no reaction. My peace is my leverage. My calm is my control. Comment below, I control through calm. Say it like an oath, because once indifference becomes instinct, nothing and no one can pull you out of power again. Number 7. The law of selective presence. Be seen, but rarely. Power doesn't come from how often you appear, it comes from when you appear. The world today is loud, crowded, addicted to exposure. Everyone wants to be seen, to be heard, to be noticed. They post, they shout, they perform, all in the name of relevance. But relevance fades fast when you're always available. The more often people see you, the less they value your presence. Familiarity doesn't breed respect, it breeds indifference. The secret is to become selective, to show up rarely but powerfully, to be seen less but remembered more. The law of selective presence is simple. What is rare becomes revered. When you're everywhere, you become invisible. But when you disappear for a while, your reappearance feels like an event. The human mind craves mystery. It's drawn to what it can't easily access. That's why scarcity builds desire and silence builds curiosity. The one who isn't always available controls attention, because attention chases what feels uncertain, unpredictable, and limited. That's the psychology of fascination. Machiavelli understood this long before social media existed. He advised leaders to appear in public rarely, to preserve their image and aura. When a ruler shows himself too often, the people stop seeing power. They see a person. But when he appears strategically, his presence feels larger than life. The same law applies to you. When you control your visibility, you control your impact. Most people make the mistake of overexposure. They talk too much, show too much, share too much. They drain their mystery trying to prove relevance. You must do the opposite. Move quietly, speak less. Let people wonder where you've been, what you're working on, what you're thinking. That curiosity is power. It keeps you in their mind long after you've left the room. When your silence becomes noticeable, you've achieved influence. Selective presence also means knowing when not to speak. Silence is not absence, it's a statement. When you stop responding to noise, people start noticing the silence. When you hold your tongue in heated moments, others rush to fill the gap with words they can't take back. You remain calm, collected, untouchable. Your silence becomes your weapon. It makes others reveal more than they should while you reveal nothing at all. You're not missing from the conversation. You're directing it by refusing to participate on their terms. This law applies to every domain: work, relationships, reputation. In a room full of voices, the one who speaks last and speaks least always holds the room's attention. When you withhold your energy, you force people to measure their words carefully when speaking to you. You train others to earn your time. That's how respect is built, not by demanding it, but by creating the conditions where your attention feels sacred. Be intentional about where you appear. Don't attend every argument, every invitation, every opportunity that seeks your energy. The powerful man chooses his moments carefully. He knows that presence has a cost, and every time he gives it freely, its value decreases. You are the brand, the standard, the energy that others seek. Protect that. When you make yourself scarce, your time multiplies in value. Think about it. When you see someone too often, their charm fades. But when someone disappears, their absence creates tension. It amplifies their importance. The same applies to you. Learn to step back. Learn to let your absence speak. Because when you're not constantly visible, your name starts to echo in people's minds. They think of you more because they see you less. You become a mystery they can't solve, and people are addicted to mysteries. In relationships, selective presence is everything. Be attentive, but not available 24/7. Let your partner miss your energy. Let them crave your attention instead of taking it for granted. The more space you create, the more appreciation grows. Love suffocates under constant exposure. It thrives in rhythm, presence followed by absence. When you're always there, you're predictable. When you vanish intentionally, you become unforgettable. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you're not everywhere, your influence reaches further. People will speak your name when you're not around. They'll reference your silence as a mystery. They'll interpret your absence as purpose. That's how legends are created, not by being present all the time, but by being remembered all the time. The greatest kings, thinkers, and strategists all understood this truth. Distance magnifies power. But selective presence doesn't mean arrogance, it means discipline. It's about understanding the rhythm of power, when to engage and when to withdraw. There's a time to speak and a time to vanish, a time to act and a time to let others move while you observe. The man who knows when to disappear never loses control, because his withdrawal is always intentional. He doesn't vanish out of fear, he vanishes to reset the balance. Sometimes, not showing up is the most powerful move you can make. When people expect your attention and don't get it, they start chasing it. When they expect your reaction and receive silence, they start respecting it. You reverse the power dynamic simply by choosing not to participate. You're not avoiding, you're asserting dominance through absence. The less you give, the more they crave. Use this law in every interaction. Let people wonder what you're thinking. Let them feel your distance. When you finally speak or return, your energy will carry more weight. You'll find that your presence alone shifts the atmosphere because now your appearance means something again. That's how true influence works. You don't force it. You let the world miss you enough to come looking. In practical terms, this means fewer posts, fewer explanations, fewer appearances. You don't chase recognition. You design moments that make people earn it. You move like a ghost, seen only when you choose to be, heard only when your words have maximum effect. You're not hiding, you're cultivating power in the shadows so that when you do appear, it feels like a revelation. Learn from the sun. It doesn't shine all day, every day in one place. It disappears long enough for night to remind the world how much it needs the light. That's what your presence should feel like. Warm, rare, essential. Not overwhelming, not desperate, not constant. When you master that rhythm, you become magnetic. People begin to adjust their schedules, emotions, and expectations around your energy. That's real power. The man who's everywhere becomes replaceable. The man who's rare becomes legendary. So pull back, withdraw strategically, build in silence. Let curiosity do your work for you. When you return, let your calm, your progress, and your energy speak. Don't announce growth, embody it. The fewer words you use, the more their minds fill in the blanks. And what people imagine about you is always more powerful than what you could ever tell them. The world doesn't reward those who chase attention, it rewards those who control it. Presence is not about quantity, it's about timing. You appear when it matters. You disappear when it doesn't. You control rhythm, not noise. That's how empires are built, not by being visible, but by being missed. So from today, stop trying to be everywhere. Be precise, be intentional. When you walk into a room, let your silence be felt. When you leave, let your absence linger. Make your presence rare enough to feel sacred, because the rare is respected and the respected is remembered. Comment below, my presence is power. Write it like a vow, because when you learn to be seen less, you'll start to be respected more. Number 8, mastering psychological distance, the untouchable aura. The strongest men are not the ones who shout, threaten, or fight for control. They are the ones who move like ghosts, calm, unreadable, beyond reach. The world feels their presence, but no one truly knows what they're thinking. That is psychological distance, the invisible barrier between you and the chaos of others. It's not built on arrogance, but on emotional mastery. You're there, but you're never fully accessible. People sense that they can't reach the deepest part of you, and that mystery keeps them in orbit. Psychological distance is the final layer of power. It's what turns confidence into aura. It's what separates men who want attention from men who command it. You've seen this before. Someone walks into a room and everyone looks without understanding why. They don't speak loudly, they don't need to. Their presence alone creates gravity. That's not charisma, that's control. That's energy shaped by detachment, by discipline, by inner certainty so deep that nothing external can shake it. The truth is, you don't need to dominate people to control them. You only need to become the person they can't figure out. The human mind fears what it can't predict. When people can't read your emotions, when they can't tell if you care or if you're planning something, they begin to respect you, even fear you, without knowing why. That's the essence of the untouchable aura. It's not about being emotionless. It's about mastering your emotional visibility. To build psychological distance, you must first kill the need to be understood. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you create tension. People start projecting. They fill your silence with stories, assumptions, theories, all of which make you larger in their minds. Your mystery becomes a screen for their imagination. You don't need to correct their perception, you use it. Machiavelli said a prince must always appear virtuous, even if he is not, because appearance controls belief, and belief controls behavior. The same rule applies here. The more people wonder about you, the more they align their actions to the image they've created of you. That's real control. Invisible, indirect, effortless. Distance doesn't mean detachment from reality. It means mastering perspective. You start observing people from a height, not looking down on them, but looking beyond them. You stop personalizing their actions. You understand that every person acts from self-interest, from fear, from ego. You stop expecting loyalty from those who lack discipline. You stop expecting depth from those who only live on the surface. That's how you stay calm, because you no longer demand more from people than they can give. The untouchable man is emotionally independent. He doesn't require agreement to feel secure. He doesn't need love to feel whole. He doesn't need validation to feel valuable. He has built his world internally, brick by brick, through solitude and reflection. When people try to shake him, they only rattle their own reflection. That's what makes him terrifying in silence. His calmness exposes everyone else's noise. Distance is not something you fake, it's something you earn. You earn it through self-control, through rejection of drama, through comfort in solitude. When others crave noise, you seek quiet. When they chase distraction, you chase discipline. You stop joining every conversation, stop attending every emotional circus, stop explaining yourself to anyone who hasn't earned the right to hear your truth. You exist at a different frequency, calm, controlled, calculated. When you move with psychological distance, every gesture becomes amplified. A single glance from you can silence a room. A simple phrase can shift the tone of an argument. Because you're not trying to dominate through volume, you're directing attention through stillness. People instinctively follow what they can't anticipate. They watch you closer, listen harder, feel uneasy around your composure. That unease is respect in disguise. The aura of the untouchable man comes from his refusal to compete. You don't prove, you don't chase, you don't explain, you observe. You choose when to engage and when to vanish. That unpredictability is your greatest weapon. The world runs on predictable emotion: anger, jealousy, approval-seeking, insecurity. The moment you step outside that system, you control it. People start to revolve around your stillness like planets around the sun. Psychological distance also means emotional boundaries. You stop letting people enter your mind without permission. You listen, but you don't absorb. You empathize, but you don't carry. You connect, but you don't cling. You can share moments without surrendering identity. That's what most people can't do. They lose themselves in others. You won't. You stay centered, grounded in your sense of self. That stability becomes rare, and rarity always commands respect. There's a reason some men attract loyalty and fear at the same time. They never show their full hand. They reveal little, promise less, but deliver exactly what's necessary. They know that distance maintains leverage. When you tell people everything, you give them the tools to use against you. When you share selectively, you control what they know, when they know it, and how they react. The less they understand your full story, the more they fill the gaps with respect. To build this kind of aura, practice invisibility. Move in silence until action is necessary. Let your results appear without announcement. Don't post your plans. Let them discover your success in silence. Don't argue your worth. Let absence prove it. Don't rush to defend yourself. Let time and consistency build your credibility. When you become selective with your words, your presence begins to speak louder than anything you could say. You also learn to disappear with purpose. Distance creates space for value to grow. When you vanish from people's lives, their memory of you becomes idealized. The arguments fade, the imperfections blur, and what remains is the echo of your energy. That echo is power. That's why silence after chaos is more effective than confrontation. Your absence forces reflection. Your restraint forces admiration. People often mistake distance for disinterest, but that's because they've never met someone who operates from true self-possession. You don't pull away out of anger. You pull away to maintain equilibrium. You choose solitude not because you fear people, but because you no longer fear being alone. That kind of independence radiates. It's magnetic because it's rare. Everyone is chasing connection. You've already mastered contentment. Psychological distance also refines your focus. When you stop reacting emotionally to everything, you start seeing patterns. You see who manipulates, who values, who drains, who contributes. You start treating interactions like chess moves, not emotional exchanges. You stop giving away energy to random players. You protect your mind like a fortress, letting in only what aligns with your purpose. That's how you stay undefeated, not by overpowering others, but by remaining untouchable within yourself. And here's the irony. The more distance you create, the more people seek closeness. They crave your validation because it's scarce. They chase your attention because it's rare. They try to read you because you never explain. You've become a psychological paradox. The more you withdraw, the more magnetic you become. That's the law of energy. What you withhold increases in value. The untouchable aura isn't about perfection, it's about control. You still feel, still think, still care. You just decide who gets to see it. You've built emotional walls with doors that only open by choice. That's not isolation, that's leadership. Because when you can stand alone without falling apart, you become someone others rely on but can't manipulate. You become the calm eye in the storm, the one everyone looks to when everything else collapses. So build your distance with intention. Protect your silence. Let people guess your motives. Let them wonder if you're angry, indifferent, or deeply strategic. That uncertainty is your shield. It makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. Never give people full access to your emotions. Give them enough to stay intrigued, but never enough to map you completely. In a world that overshares, your restraint becomes rare, and in a world obsessed with validation, your calm disinterest becomes a weapon. You stop being a participant in chaos and start becoming the observer, the one who moves pieces, not the one being moved. That's the shift, from emotional reaction to emotional command. From today, stop explaining your silence. Stop apologizing for distance. You're not cold. You're controlled. You're not detached. You're disciplined. People who misunderstand that aren't meant to be close anyway. Those who do will respect it because they'll see what others can't. That your distance is not rejection, but refinement. And when they finally realize they can't touch your peace, they'll stop trying to disturb it. That's when you've won. Comment below. My silence protects my power. Say it like you mean it, because once you master distance, you no longer walk among the crowd. You move above it. Number 9. The final lesson. Silence as supremacy. At the end of every war, after the noise fades and the fires die out, only one sound remains, the sound of silence. It is not emptiness, it is power in its purest form. The men who reach this level no longer need to prove, convince, or announce. They've transcended the need for reaction. Their silence is not a pause, it's a statement. I have become the storm I once tried to chase. You learn through experience that every word you speak costs energy, and every argument you enter costs focus. People who can pull you into chaos control you, so you stop engaging, you stop feeding small fires, you stop fighting battles that don't pay tribute to your purpose. Silence becomes your filter. It keeps the foolish out and the focused in. The weak interpret it as arrogance, the wise recognize it as discipline. Silence is not withdrawal, it's calculation. When you're silent, you listen. When you listen, you learn. You see who talks to impress and who speaks with intent. You read faces, tone, rhythm. You study the spaces between words. You gather information no one else even notices because they're too busy trying to be heard. That's the secret. The loudest man in the room is rarely the most informed. The quiet one sees everything. In the old courts of power, silence was the weapon of kings. Machiavelli understood it well. He wrote that a ruler who reveals too much loses his mystique, and a man without mystique invites manipulation. Your silence becomes your mask. It hides your fears, your plans, your vulnerabilities. When people can't predict you, they can't prepare for you. They're forced to react while you remain composed. That is supremacy, not dominance through volume but through restraint. Silence also sharpens intuition. In quiet, you start hearing the world differently. You sense truth without explanation. You recognize when someone's words don't match their energy. You see who truly respects you and who pretends. You no longer rely on promises. You read patterns. You no longer chase loyalty. You test for consistency. The quieter you become, the more the truth reveals itself. There's another layer. Silence terrifies those